It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on, black coffee, no sugar, no cream. Yeah, it's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. It's straight talk with Valerie. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on, black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on, black coffee, no sugar, no cream. It's straight talk with Valerie. Come on. Black coffee, no sugar, no cream.
Hello, 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 hello. What's happening, Detroit, and how are you doing? You're tuned in to Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, Straight Talk with Valerie on 88.1 FM. If you're listening in the metropolitan Detroit area, 107.3 WVIE if you're in the Virgin Islands, and to everyone on the Facebook Live or even watching us on radioucansee.com. What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? I have my favorite co-host with me tonight, Mr. Brian Foley. We call him the unofficial mayor of Ypsilanti, but actually he's a walking historian. Like, Brian is so woke and conscious of everything about our Black history and what goes on in the lives of Black people historically and currently. And I love to have this brother on the show with me. So say what's up to everyone, Brian.
Hey, everybody. Thanks, Valerie, for that. That introduction. I just hope I can live up to that. And thank you for that very much for saying that.
Tonight, we are going to talk about something interesting. I want to talk to the white people first.
Okay.
Because, see, I believe there's still a bounty on the head of a Black man. A brown man as well, or should I just say melanated people. And jailing melanated people for profit is the rise of the prison industrial complex. So to keep me from going off kilter too much, I wrote my statement out. Dear white people, it's as if you've gone from wearing white sheets now to just blending into society, carrying a gun and a license to shoot. Like you have a bounty, a reward or a badge of honor to shoot or kill a Black man, or if in law enforcement, to bring him into custody, even for crimes that he's not guilty of. It's become legal to hunt down a melanated person using a gun or other means instead of a tree for hanging. That's the only difference. Before we get into this real deep, I want to show this video. Trisha is unable to be with us tonight, but I believe, Brother Brian, you knew about this incident where Trisha was protesting out in Taylor.
Yes.
And the white woman ran through the crowd with her car, and nothing happened. So let's take a look at it, folks. I want you to see it for yourself.
We're going to move to the sidewalk. Watch yourselves here.
Shut it down! Shut it down! Wait! Come on, wait! Shut it down! Hey! Come on, wait!
Hey! Hey!
Is everyone okay? Everyone into the grass! Everyone into the grass!
Everyone's good. Everyone's good.
Did you get a license plate?
So you saw that video. That woman's name is Orlean Jones. And Orlean Jones, as you can see, ran through that protest. Now, let me set the stage for you, because I wasn't actually at Telegraph and Goddard when that happened. I happened to be back at the police station watching the equipment and other things because I had a boot on my foot at the time. But let me set the stage. They had blocked off one of the Michigan turns right there at Telegraph and Goddard for 8 minutes and 46 seconds in honor of George Floyd. If you look at the video closely, they were moving out of the street, out of the way, when Miss Jones decided she was going to pull through. You could hear Trichet saying, wait a minute, you're going to wait, because there were kids out there. There were elderly people out there. But she decided to use her vehicle as a weapon. And she ran over the gentleman's bike that was there and everything. The police come to the scene. Now, I see the police leaving the precinct and an ambulance and everything else. They were like 2 deep with an ambulance. So I text Trichet like, they're coming in your direction, but I didn't know what had happened. They got down there, saw it was her, and did nothing. The news reports like, oh, she was treated at the scene. She was treated like crap at the scene. They didn't try to investigate and see if anything was wrong with her or anything was wrong with anyone, basically. When they figured out it was a protest, their concern was, why were you in the street? Why didn't you call us? It's their constitutional right to be there. They didn't have to call. The next thing, so we fast forward back to the station. Trichet decides she wants to make a complaint. Now, granted, we're on the lot of the police department. 5 cars dispatched with 9 police officers in it when they could have just walked outside in the parking lot and saw us and asked us what was going on. The interrogation began, the hostility began, the way that they were talking. You would think that we committed some type of crime when the crime was committed against our group of people at that particular time. Well, the elderly white man, I cannot remember his name, very nice man. He attends all of the protests and things of that nature. Him and his wife were coming back to file their complaint because the lady ran over their bike. You would have think the sky opened up and Jesus fell out of it, because it was like, oh. The police just changed their whole aura, their whole demeanor, ran over to Mr. White Man and was like, are you okay? And started talking to him. Like we just were dirt, like we didn't matter. So I wanted to get that out there. The reason why is because the punishment doesn't always fit the crime. It's a negative way when it comes to Black men and melanated people, but a positive way, because do you know this happened in June, like June the 7th? The charges were just filed about a week ago, and it's a misdemeanor, just destruction of property because she ran over the man's bike. Nothing about her hitting Trichet's knee with the car. Nothing about her driving her car into a protest, a group of people, just like destruction of property over $200. That's crazy to me. Brian, you have anything to say about that?
You know, I looked at that video too, and that one right there is clear evidence that she was trying to cause harm in that case by using her vehicle as a weapon. You remember the protests back in, I believe it was in Virginia, and you remember the guy when he took his car and he drove through the crowd and he actually killed a white female, right? And he was charged with, I believe he was charged with maybe vehicular homicide, manslaughter, or something like that. I don't recall, so don't quote me on that. But you look at this right here and you see a very similar incident. And then they only be charged with very minor offense. One of the things that you said earlier, Valerie, and you said that you believe that they are still hunting us. The methods are different. The only difference, like you say, now they're using guns as opposed to ropes and stuff like that. One thing I share with people is this right here. There has never been a time in the history of America where it has not been illegal to hunt or kill a Black man. I say that all the time because when you look at the Black codes, and we shared that the last time we were here, right? And I'm just going to read one of the codes, and I read this before, okay? This is Section 35 of the Black Code. It says it's lawful to fire upon runaway slaves who may be armed and who, being pursued, refuse to surrender. It's lawful to fire upon runaway slaves who may be armed and who, being pursued, refuse surrender. Now, when you look at the Black codes and you look at it, and this is one of the things that sometimes we have to just start arguing with people and let your words lay as they are. Slave, Black, colored, Negro, African American. When I use the term Black, I'm speaking of a lowercase b, using it as an adjective, okay? Those words are synonymous with each other. When those of us who were here, who were brought across in the slave trade across the transatlantic, we were brought here for one purpose, and that was one purpose alone: to make life be leisurely, so that whites could live a leisurely life in America. There has never been a time in America where we had full citizenship or were considered equal human beings. We are still legally property. These laws that I just was telling you about are still on the books. This is why when we see Black people that are charged for the same crimes and the same things, that they're either getting harsh sentences, or in the case of white people who are racially classified as white, that is why they are charged less than. We are still property of these United States, and they're never, you can argue with me, you can debate with me, whatever you want, and I'm just saying this because what you see is what you get. You just seen that. There it is, a car charged to get somebody. Now we see it when Black folks do stuff like that, they're charged with murder, attempted murder, and what have you. We are not, there is no equality in America, and it never has been, regardless of what the laws say. And you said this, laws, legally, what's your word that you use?
Legally allowing white supremacy.
Legally white supremacy. I built upon that, and I really love that acronym that you put together, but I call it legislatively advancing white supremacy. Mm-hmm. And how do you legislate it? How do you legislate it? Through the legislature, through legislators. When you look at the people who are in office right now, okay, I'm just sharing a little bit background. I'm 60 years old. I was born in 1960, okay?
Okay.
The Civil Rights Act of 1964, okay? And it's 1965, and I believe there was one in 1968. We still did not have full citizenship when I was born. And I'm sitting here talking to you right now. So when you look at when slavery ended, which is in 1865, when I was born, when you do the math, you can understand that there were still free slaves or whatever, still walking amongst us when I was born. Well, what does that have to do with anything? When you begin to understand the mindsets of these people who we're dealing with right now, because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, the same things that we tell our children to watch out for and to be leery of is the same thing that the slave master had told his grandmother and tell his grandson and grandchild right now. The mindset, the legislator, those who enforce the laws still enforce them to ensure that we continue to stay in our place and remain in our place, and we're still considered chattel property. Regardless of what the law says, the legislature, those who are in charge, make sure to see that we still remain in our place. That's why we see these laws, so-called laws, allowing whites to get off with attempted murder, and we're charged separately. We're charged indifferently, excuse me.
Absolutely. And let me say this, and I said it once before when we were talking about this subject, but we are still considered 3/5 of a person.
Still.
Right. So there was a Black officer that shot a white woman. I think he was trying to shoot the dog and accidentally shot the woman. She ended up getting a $20 million lawsuit for that. Breonna Taylor's family We know what happened. She got 12 million, which is exactly 3/5 of 20 million. So it all boils down to our vote does count, because when you said legislatively advancing white supremacy, that's what I don't think people understand. Black people, you're not just voting for the president and walk away. You're voting for the Supreme Court. Do you even know what district you live in? Do you even know your state rep? You're voting for all of this stuff. It is a process. It is a hierarchy. And we have to hold these folks accountable. You know, I'm so tired of seeing all of these selfies and these people up there cooning and grinning and all of this other stuff with these folks. Let me tell you something. I'm so sick of the shenanigans. You know, the politicians come and taking photographs with the black bourgeoisie, and you don't see their ass no more. They don't come back to your church anymore. Do you see them any other time besides election time? Do you see them doing anything else for your community other than around that time? I will say, I said before and I will say again, I live off 7 Mile in Detroit. And when Kamala Harris came to Headliners Barbershop, which is not far from my house, I was pissed off. Not at her per se. I'm not a fan of her, and I've let that be known. But why didn't you go 2 blocks over where the blight was and sit your ass on one of them mounds of trash and talk to the people if you about community? I'm so tired of the coon show. It works my damn nerves. I'm sick of it. She could have walked 2 blocks over, had your entourage drive 2 blocks over. You could have had Gilchrist put you on a bus. Or you could have rolled through with your entourage to some of the most deplorable neighborhoods that we have in the city. Stop it with the flow, Sean. I'm so sick of it. But while we're on the subject of her, we will get back on topic, and that is the bounty that's on the black man's head. Because she is responsible. She's the pretty Kim Worthy. She is responsible for putting some people in jail that didn't deserve to be there. I'm not going to let it slide. It is the past. People can call it what they want to call it, but it's just a fact. You know, was she doing her job? Yeah, but she used those laws and put those people in jail because, again, it's what the law allows. If she's following the law, it's what it allows. How she interprets the law. What does that look like for her when she's doing her job or not? Because I don't know. Like I say, I call it a pretty Kim Worthy. That's Kim Worthy. She light-skinned. She light-skinned Becky with the hair. But that's the pretty Kim Worthy to me. And nothing more or nothing less. You know, so we got to pick the lesser of two evils. But let's go and move on, because what we're going to end up talking about, Brother Brian, is the prison industrial complex. But we can't get there until we build up the stock. Prisons are run like a corporation. So you got to have the inmates in there to build up enough people to have in there. Plus, they're privatized, so people are getting money for them being there. Some of the companies that you shop with every day, Sherwin-Williams, Aramark, some of those paints, some of that commissary food and other things are produced by inmates. And if you haven't watched Ava DuVernay's documentary 13th, you need to watch it. But before we get to that part of how they're making money off of our backs, let's start where it all begins, the racial profiling. Can you run that clip for me, Marquise?
Why he's getting that? Can I share something with you? You know, you were talking about the pretty Kim Worthy. You know, we had a pretty Kim Worthy here. You know, the prosecutor's race that took place here in Washtenaw County. Ariane Slay, Eli Savage, and Hugo Mack.
Yes.
Right? Okay, right. So that analogy fits. Now, you can say I was being insultive or whatever. Say what you want to say, but you called me the unofficial mayor. A lot of people listen to me and they respect my opinion on stuff like that. She never ever once, ever once reached out to me to ask my opinion or to ask our community, the Black community here on the south side of Ypsilanti, or engaged us. Just to show you that you're just not making this up. And what I call it is poison in pretty bottles, right? I'm not a drinker of alcohol, right? But when you put poison, you get what I'm saying? Like you put 5 o'clock vodka, right? Into a bottle. It costs $2, I don't know, $2.30 or whatever. And then you put it into the upper class, Tanqueray. I don't know. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
And then, but it's all the same thing. Or you put it in this pretty green bottle or this pretty blue bottle, what have you. It's the same chemical, but it's in a different package, selling you the same thing. Poison in pretty packages is all it is.
I agree with you 100%. You ready to roll, Marquise? Okay, so let's look at this white cop's perspective of racial profiling. Let's take a look at what he has to say.
From the slave ship to the chain, from the taskmaster's whip to my brain, kidnapped, enslaved, raped and killed by the Lynch clan again and again. Is it the origin of the skin or the face of a race? Why you don't care about me?
Okay, so we had a technical difficulty with that. So let me break it down. There was a white police officer who became a captain, and he retired. After he retired, he began to be convicted and wanted to right some of his wrongs, as he said. And in doing so, he decided to be a whistleblower. And he started talking about the times that he stopped Black people just because they were Black, driving while Black. The times where he would overexert his authority. But he clearly made a distinction that he would not do that when he stopped white people. But this is what got me, and it's true. At the end of him saying all of that, he said, and the reason why they do it and get away with it is because we don't have any connections, we don't have any money, and we don't have any power. And it's true.
Point with that.
It's true. You can't argue that point. Many of us don't. We don't have the money, so we know with the cash bail system exactly you get picked up, you're going to stay there. Power, we have people who are in position, but they don't have any power. And then connections. How many can pick up the phone and call the police chief or the senator and say, hey, one of your cops stop me. I need this case dropped. Or, my son or daughter is in trouble. Can you, help me out? Or even to be recognized when they run the name. Oh, this is such and such son. Let him go. We don't have those type of connections. We don't have the money and we don't have the power. And that's how they get away with it. And he is 100% accurate. That is exactly why. And then once they do get us to the station or wherever they're taking us, the laws are not in our favor. The Constitution of the United States of America and its Bill of Rights were not written with us in mind. Same thing with the educational system. We have to learn to navigate these things. Those systems weren't designed for us. And every time we learn how to navigate it or it starts to benefit us a little bit, then it changes. The game changes up a little bit. But when that man said on that video that the reason why they get away with it is because we don't have any money, we don't have any connections, and we don't have any power, he was telling the truth. He was telling the truth.
You know, Valerie, I'm gonna continue to read these, you know, these codes because they're still on the books. And this is what you're saying. Section 27, 28 through 29 of the Black Codes, as they're informally called. The keeper of the county jail, where runaway slaves, black person. I'm gonna replace the word with black person, bring it into context so you can understand what we're talking about, because they are synonymous with each other. Lowercase black. The keeper of the county jail where a runaway black man might be caught shall pay the captors, whether free or black, $3 for every black man caught on the highways and $10 for every black man taken in the woods and delivered to the said jailer, which sum shall be reimbursed by the master of the black man. That is the corporation that Valerie was just talking to you about. 28 through 29. The black man thus arrested shall be condemned to hard labor by the authorities of the county. They providing for the maintenance, housing, room, clothing, and medical attendance, and as after 2 years, they shall not be reclaimed by their masters. They say slaves shall be sold, and after paying expenses, the balance of the money shall be paid into the public treasury. That is what you're just describing right now, Valerie, when you're describing the prison industrial complex. And if you don't understand the history, it's hard to understand the present. Now, you said something, and I'm just, you know, we just talking, me and you, we had this conversation all the time, right? It's just what you're saying straight up and down. Voting. Our people seem to think that voting does not apply to them, but we have to have the right people in office. And not only do we have to have the right people running for those offices, we have to support them so that when they do get into position, they are able to make the proper decisions. And when you don't have money to do those things, then you are subject to being violated by the law. We're trying to get people right now to get out and fill out the census. Why? Because that determines how much money is allocated per capita to whichever community, city, county you live in, okay? Now, when we get that money, we have to make sure that those who are in legislative, who are the legislators, make sure that that money is distributed with equity down through our communities. If we're not in position to do that, then we are subject to whoever who is in headship at that time to make the decisions that they deem that is best governable, not for us, but to meet their ideology, which is white supremacy. This is how these things work. And if you don't understand these things and don't go out and vote, don't fill out your census, and not just vote for anybody, like Valerie's saying. We have to vote for the candidates, the ones that have our best interests, not these handkerchief Negroes, not these cooning, who show up, you don't even know who they are. You know what I mean? Until they show up to it's time to cast a vote. There are candidates who've been out there who have our best interests, but because they do not have the money and the backing, right, to do the will of the people, the other candidate gets in and do it. And at the same time, too, the familiars, I learned this term the other day, the familiars who do the bidding of white supremacists, they'll get behind and back that black candidate to make sure that they're do the biddings of the white people. Just like we're just saying the pretty Kim Worthies and Kim Worthy herself. Excuse me. Yep.
You know, you're absolutely right. And while we're on the topic of profiting off of our trauma,
yep,
media corporations, including Facebook, them shaky ass homemade iPhone videos, you see them all over CNN. They can't wait to get their hands on one of them, so they can just play it and play it and play it all over CNN and MSNBC and any other media outlet, so that they can exploit. Some of it,
yes,
is misinformation, because of course they're going to spin it. That's the job of the media, or most of them. I know we have some really, really good journalists here in the Detroit area. They don't spin nothing. You know, I take my hat off to Bankalake Thompson. He doesn't spin nothing. That brother's coming at you straight, and strong, educated brother who's not afraid to say what it is. But then there are other outlets you already know, what it's going to be as soon as they open their mouths. I feel that when corporations fund the propaganda that goes along with it, I'm telling you, if you have not seen Ava DuVernay's documentary 13th, watch it. You will be amazed at how many of these large corporations fund all of this propaganda that's going on in our community and profit off of our trauma. And I'm going to call it trauma. And I'm not saying trauma just in the sense of something happened to Ray Ray when he was a kid and now he's out there wilding. I'm talking about the trauma of just being a black man in the community today with the racial profiling. I can't imagine how you feel when a race car pulls up behind you, not a race car, a police car pulls up behind you, and you see these flashing lights. So we're going to prepare for a break, but when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about corporations and how they basically profit off the backs of the prison industrial complex. You've been listening to Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream, Straight Talk with Valerie, and we'll be right back after this break.
From the slave ship to the chain, from the taskmaster's whip to my brain, kidnapped, enslaved, raped and killed by the Lynch clan again and again. Is it the origin of the skin or the face of a race? Why you don't care about me?
Now I know you don't care about me. I'm just a nigga walking down your street. The brother did nothing wrong, but now his life is gone. So I know you don't care about me. Code of silence, you said. Yet your actions speak so loud and clear. The Allos killers going free, paid by society. Now I know you don't care about me. Hey, we should be burning and looting, believe me. Start exchange 41 for 90. Our ancestors were built these countries under sticks and whips and kicks and punches. Meanwhile you're living like some Brady bunches. Tell me where the justice, much less the taxes. The world much more than the stinking donkeys.
Touch, kill, and maim. Their injustice remains the same. Killing the people in the Queen's name. No one ever gets the name. And my people keep them down the drain. All these crimes are done to we. They'll be written in black history. Crimes of injustice and humanity perpetrated by society. If my people are living in poverty.
My struggle for survival is to be accepted and treated as a member of the human family, whose practice should reveal the fundamental.
You are tuned in to 88.1 FM WHPR and 107.3 WVIE if you're in the Virgin Islands, and everyone on Facebook and RadioWeCanSee.com. This is the Black Coffee, No Sugar, No Cream show, and we just listened to I Know You Don't Care About Me. And we understand historically, living in Black America, spelled AMERIKKKA, that we are not cared about by white supremacists and racists. But what hurts me the most are the organizations that supposedly care about us and they don't. Because see, corporations pay pennies in donations to some of our civil rights organizations. And the silence of them is bought with no real concessions. That is a shame. all of these corporate sponsorships. So when I see some of the corporate sponsorships coming across, and I got to pick on the largest chicken dinner in America, but it's true. I'm not really picking on them. These corporate sponsorships and stuff, and you wonder why they not standing up. Where are they? We hear crickets. All kind of stuff going on in the black community right here in the metropolitan Detroit area, and you hear crickets. And I feel sorry for my friends who are in other chapters in Outwayne County, because they can't do nothing until the black bourgeoisie at the top tell them what to do.
That's correct.
So we're not going to hear anything but Ben Crump taking the national spotlight and doing his thing and what he does. I don't know him, so I can't say whether I like him or not. But I know this, we have a lot going on in our communities that could use money from that legal defense fund, and some of it is the jailing and the incarceration and the wrongful conviction and the wrongful charges by the dark-skinned Kim Worthy. Or if you in California, the pretty Kim Worthy, Kamala Harris over there. What's going on with that? There's a legal defense fund, but every time I see something going on, it's a GoFundMe account that comes up for these families that need a lawyer before they go into litigation. I don't ever see anybody on the national news like, well, I want to thank the NAACP Legal Defense Fund for helping me and my family. I don't hear it because they're not doing nothing.
Nope.
Nothing at all. Their time is up. And I've been personally attacked for saying that before. And I'm sure I'll be personally attacked for saying it again, but I'm going to tell you right now, I'm low on the Lord, so you come for me if you want to. I'm going to cuss your ass out because I ain't feeling good this week. But back to our regularly scheduled program. What you got to say about that, Mr. Foley?
Hey, you said it all. When you really look at these institutions and what they are, they do exactly what the National Association for the Advancements of Colored People. When it says what it all right in the term right there, you know what I mean? And you said it. I wrote this post, and I'm gonna put the name out there. Like you said, I'm gonna straight them down. We have a person who's a judge out, who's running for judge in Washington County. Her name is Elaine Washington. Okay,
mm-hmm.
And if you know anything, if you're around here in Ypsilanti, Ann Arbor, you will know the work that Elaine Washington has put in from beginning in the public defender's office. She defended me, right? She's the reason why my black behind ain't in prison right now as a first-year public defender. This woman went to bat, and I followed her career throughout. And you talking about presidents of Bar Association, president of Women's Bar Association in Michigan, black this, accolades. You talking about untouchable record. But you have a former state legislature by the name of David Rutledge, I'm giving his name, right? Who, out of the black bourgeoisie, decided that he was going to back the white male candidate. Paid off. I said it, sue me, whatever, prove me wrong. You get what I mean? That you were not paid off to endorse this white man to keep him on to further advance the systemic racism that takes place in Washington County, in specific Ypsilanti Township. Now, I'm speaking on advice that told me, Brian, be cautious on what you're saying when you're speaking on this race, because you know the people who you are talking about. But I'm too far in to get scared now, right? And I wrote this behind that, and I said this, what you were just talking about, and I wrote this. In Washington County exists a group of blacks I've dubbed the A2Y Black Bully. They consist of politicians, elected officials, fraternities, sororities, clergy, educated, nonprofits, and activists who act as the social stratum between the racially classified as black and the whites. And how do you find them? Every meeting you are not invited to, me and you are not invited to, they're there playing political and government appointed musical chairs. And that's what they do. I say they're a much aligned body out of touch with the black community. They're a class they're a class of blacks that W.E.B. Du Bois dubbed the talented 10th, except they use their talents to feed off of the downtrodden. Talented and giving handouts and not hand-ups. As long as they have someone to look down on, they will always have a job. These are our black bourgeoisie who Kim Worthies that are a member of. And they, as I said, they act as the social stratum, right? The upper tier Negroes, the talented 10th, the people that think they have arrived and done stuff, and they've been compromised and they have been paid off to do the bidding of the masters, as Malcolm called them. And it's funny, these 1960s terms that Malcolm come up are still relevant today. House niggas is exactly who they are, right? And they are the ones, and they report back to the master exactly what's going on to the black community. People love to call me, I'm a leader in my community. Please don't call me no leader in my community, because what are leaders in the community, when white people dub you a leader in the community, they expect you to report back to them what is happening out here in the fields. And that's why I tell people, don't call me no black leader. White people say, you're a good leader in the community. No. Trick no good with me. Because I see that happen with so many brothers. I've seen it. I can witness. And what I try not to do, I did use David Rutledge's name, and I did use Ariane Slade's name. But I try to use brothers who aren't aware of what's going on, right? And I share this right here, okay, and not use their names. There's 3 frequencies of blackness. One is black, God conscious, God body, and they're aware working of uplifting fallen humanity. The second level of consciousness is the Negro. He's unconscious and unaware to the harm he does to our communities. These are the people who I use nameless. And the third is the black bully. They're aware and they're conscious toward the advancement of white supremacy by keeping those of us racially classified as black in our place. Now, I said that one might call the third frequency of blackness and Uncle Tom, but that is an insult to the title character in Harriet Beecher Stowe's novel. Sambo or Quimbo is a more fitting term. They are the lackeys who beat slaves on behalf of plantation owner Simon Legree in the book. Times change, but the characters remain the same. Only the names change. And that is why, Valerie, that we're right now even have these type of discussions that we're having right now, because these people still act as that social stratum and they're paid off, right? Sit around just smiling and cooning and lying. I mean, flat out lying, making promises. You know, that one that really tripped me out, that picture of her with a bottle of Louisiana hot sauce. You know, hot sauce. I mean, for real. Yeah, she one of us because she put, what was she putting, hot sauce on her greens or her chicken.
Knowing damn well if her mama an Indian, she done had some stuff so hot, hotter than a habanero pepper. So don't even try to act like that hot sauce was anything. If they don't go somewhere and sit down with that.
Sit down. Yeah.
You know, money is the root of our problem. Like you said, being sold out or being bought out. One of the two. And corporations, they play a huge part in, it's all a game.
Yeah.
It's all a game. From political campaigns, endorsing political candidates. That's why I don't take any sponsorships or whatever for this show. This is a small platform, small scale. You know, I do what I do. I enjoy what I do. Don't get paid for doing it. I enjoy speaking the truth, and that is my truth, and that is the reason why. And I've been offered, you know, sponsorships and stuff. Nope, because now you want to try to. The minute I say something you don't like, you're gonna pull your sponsorship.
That's right, exactly.
Or you're gonna try to get me to say stuff that you do like. I'm all right with being uncomfortable. I've been uncomfortable most of my life being a black female working in corporate America. That's a double minority because I'm not supposed to know I'm really dumb because I'm black and a lady. I'm used to being uncomfortable. Does not bother me. I've always been outspoken. I won't change. You know, I always will say the things that are unpopular. It gets me in trouble sometimes. I see one of my three wise men, Dr. Beaumont, was on here for a while, and boy, I have to thank him. I would say he saved me a lot of times because I would just be cutthroat sometimes, and he would be, Valerie, you know, just talk to me a little bit and reel me on back in. And at that time, you know, 15 years ago or however long ago it was, I didn't understand the importance. He was teaching me to play chess
Yes.
when I was playing checkers.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Dr. Bowman. I love that brother for that. You know, he was that calming spirit inside of me to say, you can do exactly what you want to do. And you can say what you want to say, but it's how you say it. And learn who's around you and the people who are around you and how they move. That's all you need to know. You don't have to always address everything. And, you know, surrounding myself with people smarter than myself, more accomplished than myself, and who've been through a lot of things, I learned a lot. But every now and then, that little Inkster girl crops up. And, you know, she just has to have her say. I have been used in the past through corporate America to try to get, I would say I was a house Negro, because see, being outspoken but having the will and the know-how to gather people together, I was the perfect one to lead their African American network and be a part of it. You know, we gonna gather all you Negroes together and give you some money. Y'all can have a party. And as you said the last show, we love to celebrate. Now, this corporate America, I'm talking about Park Davis Pharmaceuticals. I'm not talking about no small time. We gonna give you an African American network so you can advance your causes, and you get to have this large party. And they did the same thing when I went and worked in engineering at Ford African American Network. What did they let us have? A damn party that they paid for. We ain't advance a damn thing at neither one of them companies. You gonna go to HR with your problem. HR is for the company. Shut your mouth if you want to work here. End of discussion. Period. So from racial profiling, this doesn't just happen when you're in a cop is behind you in your car. You know, it happens in corporate America. You're profiled everywhere you go if your skin has melanin in it. The way you're treated, I demand my respect. I love some of the white people that I work with on some of the boards that I've sat on, and some of the work that I've done in Belleville. I don't consider them racist. I don't consider them white supremacists or whatever. They've never showed it to me if that's what they are. They respect me. I respect them. They have their opinion. I have mine. We sit at the table, handle the business at hand, and we go our way until the next time. We have learned how to integrate with each other, but everybody can't integrate. So that's another one of our problems. I think if we were separate but equal in a lot of instances, we would advance a whole lot farther, because then we would have to just deal with the trauma and the cooning and all of that other stuff. But when we started integrating, it messed us up.
Yep.
It messed us up because some that made it out that didn't have to worry about being profiled as much, we didn't know how to go back. And I was one of them. I had to learn how to go back into my hometown and share and uplift and mentor and love on, you know, and do all of those other things, because it didn't matter, friend, family, or foe. I could pretend like you don't even live on this earth and just go about my business. And that could be a good thing, but in a lot of cases, it's a bad thing, right? Because your gift should make room for you, and they shouldn't build walls for you, right? So what I've learned to do now is to let down my guard, but not my standard. My standard is still the same, and it's going to remain the same. But every now and then, I'll let my guard down, and it's still the same crap, but I'll do it. You know, like, okay, I'll let my guard down a little bit, and I always yield the same thing, a bunch of nonsense. I get headaches trying to talk to our people. I get headaches trying to help our people. I get nauseated trying to get them to see how life could be so much better if they just made better choices. It's not even that hard. Make informed decisions. It don't matter if you went to high school with the person and they running from office. What you should know is were they a finance major? Then they shouldn't be the treasurer. But we don't think like that. We just think they cool because we looking for that help. This is my boy. This is my girl. I'm going to take a selfie. You don't know how many times running a nonprofit that people that I have grown up with, known in my family have called me because they needed community service hours and thought I was going to give them a letter to say they did the work. You better come pick these damn weeds. I ain't giving you nothing. Didn't nobody give me nothing to get this organization that I've had for 20 years, to run this business that I've ran for 20 years. And you think I'm going to put all my whole livelihood on the line to do you a favor? If you don't get over here, cut this damn grass, pick these dandelions, rake these leaves, take out this trash, you're not getting nothing from me. Because I ain't cool like that. I'm not going to put my livelihood, so you can call me the B word, but put educated in front of it. Whatever you want to call me, put educated in front of it. But I'm not putting my livelihood and all of that on the line to do you a favor. Not going to do it. It will never happen. Don't even waste your time asking. You better work hard for it like I did. Period. And if you want to call me a sellout, if you want to call me, but I'm going to tell you what I am. I'm not part of the black bourgeoisie. And I'm not all the way ghetto. I'm boo ghetto. I'm going to spell that for you. BOUGHETTO. I am more bourgeoisie than ghetto because I found the balance. But I can become off balance. But I'm not all the way bourgeoisie, and I'm not all the way ghetto. I'm in the middle. But I'm aware of myself. I'm happy with who I am, and I don't give a damn who's not happy with me. And I just live my life that way, and I've never been happier when I stopped caring about what people think about me. Period. It's simple. Mr. Foley. It's time for us to get ready to go. So, you know, and I will say one more thing before I turn it back over to my brother. And I'm not black, and I am not your nigger. I'm blackety, black. Not colored. Nothing. I'm blackety, black, and I'm Bughetto. That's it. Mr. Foley.
You know, first of all, you gave me a grand introduction, and thank you for that. There are times when we need to talk, and there are times when we need to listen. This was a time that I need to listen, and what you just said, I don't know if you know where you were at when you were speaking, but you were not speaking in body, you were speaking in spirit. I've been around long enough to understand that. And you were just articulating my experience, my thoughts, and giving me confirmation and affirmation on what I'm doing here in the city of Ypsilanti. When you start talking about you need to get over here and pull these weeds, and I'm giving you nothing, you get what I'm saying? I'm not compromising what I've been put in place to do so that I can sign your sheet to say that you did these 8 hours of community service work. Number one, this is what you're supposed to do. And number two, we need to keep calling our people. You get what I'm saying? I mean, we can get on this, you can hurt your feelings, but we need to get off the public tit. We need to get up off the public dole, because unemployment as a way of life ain't done nothing but destroy us. And we need to get back to who we are. You were saying so much, like I say, so this is just one of the days that I just needed to listen, right? and just let you know that I'm out here listening, that you're not out there speaking in the cyberspace into a vacuum, that someone was out here and listened. And I learned a lot today. And what I learned, that I am not alone in my thoughts and my feelings. And you said straight up and down, it's not sometimes how much what you say, it's how you articulate what you say. And you did that today, you know, and we need to get to that, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just grateful that I had the opportunity to experience this in real time. Because sometimes when you hear the recorded version of something, you don't have that same feeling. But I got it. I just want you to know that. You get what I'm saying? And I'm blessed to be on at this particular time and space and to receive that and know that I too am. I don't know if I can like boo ghetto, because it sounds like, you know, with the boo on the end, I'm gonna have to find something else for that.
More
you
masculine,
I mean?
yeah.
But, yeah, more masculine. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? But hey, you get what I'm saying? You know, sometimes you know what that word say. You know, when we down there, you got me effed up. You get what I mean? You got me effed up if you think I'm gonna go down for you because I'm not down. You get what I mean? And I'm gonna compromise everything that I have built for your behind to sign your sheet to say you did. No, you got me effed up. Okay.
I agree.
So
well, thank you, brother. Our time is up. I appreciate you. You know, the Webster's form of Bughetto, I guess, is being a chameleon, or that I can integrate, or, you know, whatever it is, but I'm still true to who I am. I love you, brother, because you're true to who you are. And I appreciate you kicking it with me. And we will be back talking about voting. So you guys stay tuned. Next week, I will be doing a show on demons in the courtroom. I'm going to start breaking down probate court and how they taking guardianship over these elderly people. So tune in. Thank you. And we'll see you next week. So long.
I'm just trying to do the best that I can as a strong black man. Yeah. Here I stand as a strong black man, having done all I can to please my fellow man. I don't understand why that knife is in your hand. After doing all I can as a strong black man, I'm gonna take my stand as a black man. I will do the best that I can as a black man. I stand on my own as a black man. I'm gonna sing my song. Oh, this is me. So hear my plea. I'm a young black man, down on my knees. I say this world is wrong, and we don't have too long. I'm gonna take this stand as a strong black man. I feel the rain falling down on me. If you could see what's on my mind, oh, you will see. Everyone would be more kind.